All right, guys, back here on Southeastern 14 with Max Barr. We're previewing the other two games on Tuesday night slate in SEC basketball. First, let's tell you, as always, about our friends at BetOnline. Continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. Up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends. You can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with live in-game betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile devices. Head on over to BetOnline today. That's betonline.ag to become part of the team. And remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, Max, these two games, they will be played. These are games that feature four of the, I think, bottom five teams in our power rankings this week. So two games that may not necessarily move the needle a whole lot from an SEC standpoint, but still maybe something at stake here in terms of looking at NIT possibilities and all that. We start in Baton Rouge. LSU is going to host Georgia, and this game is a rematch from the one that had the almost thrilling finish back on January 24th with Jordan Wright shot the three in the corner, I think it was, and that sucker went in and out. And but Georgia held on for a 68-66 victory over the Tigers in that game. It really was all about Jalen Cook and Jordan Wright. They combined for 39 of LSU's 36 points, or 66 points in that game. Meanwhile, Georgia just kind of did it the Georgia way. It wasn't the prettiest game, but they found a way to win. They had 18 turnovers. That was a game that had a lot of turnovers. 18, LSU had 16 in that game. But Georgia got to the free throw line a lot, went 19 to 24 from the line. Didn't shoot it great, but again, that's really nothing new. This was a bit of a slog. I mean, kind of a slog the first time around, Max. I think this will be a little bit higher scoring than that one. LSU's coming off a tough loss to Mississippi State at home, which we said maybe the hangover effect, from that game against Kentucky. And for Georgia, I mean, outside of the win against Vanderbilt, they have just really struggled here to put a complete game together, really, since the last time they played LSU. And even then, I didn't think, again, that was the best performance probably. So, interesting setup here for these two teams.
Yeah, you know how I always like to start, Blake, by looking at the spot and how it sets up with what both teams just came off of. And we're not getting any edge here on either team. Both teams just got drilled. So if you want to look at a motivational edge, you're not really going to you're not really going to find one here. There might be stuff with seeding. If you haven't watched our power rankings video, go back and watch that. Blake, you were talking about how LSU has a hold on that 8 seed right now in the current SEC standings, which is a huge difference between the 7 seed. Huge difference. So LSU definitely has a lot to play for here as far as seeding is concerned. When you break down the actual matchup between the two teams, I think LSU's offense is going to be able to have a little bit more success than they did last time. And last time they didn't have Tyrell Ward, who I've been singing his praises, been a big addition to this LSU offense. So they didn't have him last time out. And when you look at this LSU defense, they have struggled. We were talking earlier in the season about how if there's one thing that did I say LSU defense or did I say Georgia defense?
LSU.
Yeah, I meant Georgia. That's my fault.
Yeah.
Georgia defense has struggled.
They've both been struggling, really. I mean, you think about it, but yeah.
They've both been struggling. Yeah. Was just looking at paths for LSU. And they do shoot a good 3-ball. And they're 5th in the SEC in effective field goal percentage. So I think the LSU offense should be able, especially at home here, bounce back. 3rd straight home game. I think the LSU offense will have a little bit more success than they did last time.
Yeah, it's always seemed like we said Georgia's just kind of one player away from maybe being 5 wins better or something. Just meaning like if they just had that one other kind of, whether it's just a stopper on defense or whether it's just a guy that can go off for 25 at any time. Those kind of type players, casting a movie, right? Like you're casting the movie of the Georgia basketball team. You need someone who can play one of those roles. And so like if they just had one more of one of those, maybe that's the difference in having, again, 3 to 5 more wins, something like that. Maybe it's not that many, but it's just been kind of been a slog. So yeah, I mean picks here. Usually, as we always do in these kind of games, it's like who's the home team, and
Right.
you kind of roll with that and sort of go with it. So I'm going to pick LSU to bounce back here. I think Georgia's a much different matchup than Mississippi State, and I think even though we both picked LSU from what I can remember when we did our pick in that game against Mississippi State,
Yeah.
but it was not. I think we said it was like one of those just kind of. It was a different matchup, in terms of like it wasn't Kentucky, it wasn't some of these
Hmm.
other games. Georgia's a different matchup than Mississippi State. It's a team that again doesn't just completely shut you down on defense. You said it. Georgia's been struggling from D or really everywhere defensively.
Yeah, they
They'll
have.
probably still force some turnovers. I think this may still be kind of a turnover type game. Maybe not to the extent last time both teams combined for 34, but yeah, Georgia's one of those teams. Like I said, I think they've just kind of fallen into the trap of man. We've played a lot of close games. We lose some of them. We have won a couple of them, and we won the last one against LSU. I will pick LSU to find a way to get enough scoring here, and maybe Georgia does not. Just given again my thoughts on them scoring wise, even though you said defense has taken kind of a backtrack a little bit, but their scoring still I think leaves a lot to be desired. So give me the Tigers in a bounce back game at home in this one.
Yeah, I'm not very confident on either side if I'm making a pick, but the one area that I do think might be the biggest difference is I think LSU has a bit more consistency on the perimeter when it comes to scoring. We've seen 30-point games out of RJ Melendez. We've seen Thomason start like 6 of 6 and just look like he's never going to miss a shot. We've seen Justin Hill take over games. But with LSU, it's been a little bit more consistent, especially after the Jalen Cook hamstring injury. It's been a healthy dose of Trey Hannibal, who's one of the better rebounding guards. He's played 30-plus minute in 3 straight games. I get a better feel from LSU, a little bit more consistent. So I'll go LSU at home here also. But these are two teams that are battling for tournament seeding and whatnot. So I don't expect a blowout either way.
Yeah, as we said, these are 4 of the bottom 5 teams in our power ranking. So I don't know that there's a lot of separation with some of
Yeah.
these teams in particular. So, but maybe there is a little separation in this next game because Arkansas is probably playing as well as anybody right now in terms of these 4 teams. Although I think you could put LSU in that category minus the
Yeah.
Mississippi State game. And so, yeah. But again, that's you're reaching here because remember this is an Arkansas team that 2 weeks ago lost by 29 at home to Tennessee, and so but you take what you can get out of this group, and of course Vanderbilt beat Texas A&M at home not too long ago. Arkansas went on the road, beat Texas A&M, so there's a common theme, I guess, if you want to put that together with these two. I mean, again, it's like we've said the same stuff about these two teams. Arkansas has finally put together back-to-back SEC wins for the first time this year. Think about how wild that is to say, given where we had Arkansas earlier in the season. And now they got a chance to go for 3 in a row in a really good spot, I think, against a Vanderbilt team that, while they got that win against Texas A&M, they have not had a lot of other things to show for it since then. 35-point loss at Tennessee, 12-point loss at home to Georgia, 13-point loss on the road at Florida. Now they got to go on the road to play an Arkansas team that, Caleb Battle just went for 42. He's on a hot streak right now, but as always, it's consistency with these two teams, Max. You could break down the numbers all day and find the stats here. We know where Vanderbilt ranks in most of these categories, both offensively and defensively. They've been the worst team in the SEC in efficiency. And again, that's counting in a team in Missouri who is still over. But Vanderbilt's been worse in both areas in terms of the efficiency numbers. And meanwhile, I mean, again, Arkansas is I don't know. Like it's just you don't know what to expect, and that's
I
the
know
hard
it.
part here. Is we've seen it back to back games, so maybe there's something to building that trend. But I can't say that I am just overly confident that Arkansas is going to come out and just wipe the floor with Vanderbilt here because I still am not completely sold that Arkansas has become a different team just in 2 games. So
Yeah, you mentioned consistency with Vanderbilt, and there's one thing that they have been consistent with, and that's been their road performances in conference play. They have lost 6 straight road games by double digits in the SEC. So you
yeah,
kind of know what you're going to get there. They actually have not won a road game all year. They're over on the road. They have not had a single-digit road game since January 9th at LSU, where they lost by 8. So it has been tough sledding on the road for this Vandy team. And I'm with you. I'm not 100% buying in everything on this, that Arkansas has just completely flipped the script. It's that team that we thought it was going to be, the toughness, the defense, they're back. They're going to make a run in the SEC tournament. They're back. I'm not completely there yet because it was they caught a Texas A&M team that we've been saying all year is just it's tough to watch from outside perimeter, and they caught them on a bad shooting night. And then Missouri hasn't won a game all year. So it is Vanderbilt. And hey, you know what, Blake? You know what? I'll make a bold prediction here. Arkansas beats Vanderbilt, and I overreact to that classic Vanderbilt win. And the reaction, we are like, Arkansas's back. They're back. They're making a run. Watch out. That's going to happen?
Yeah. So I've addressed this on other shows recently, but there are a lot of Arkansas fans that are trying to just grasp onto something, and it's the thought of, hey, what happens if we win out? Can we make the NCAA tournament? I've made it very clear. If you win out, meaning win the SEC tournament, then yeah, you're automatically in. But if you win out by regular season, no, they're still way too far away from that happening. But like you said, there is a potential here. You win this game, then you go play at Kentucky, which they played well against Kentucky last time. I don't know if well is the right word. That wasn't the prettiest game, but they kept it close.
They kept it close.
And so, yeah, maybe there is a chance to just build off of this. And you got to take advantage of the schedule if you want to do that. I don't think it's as much a surprise. We're both going to pick Arkansas here to win this game. And it really is. I think the most intriguing aspect of this is just, do you see that same sort of confidence, that same sort of fire we've seen again from Arkansas in these in the stretches that they played well the past two games? Because I wouldn't say they played well the entire game the past two games, but they did enough in those stretches to be able to just, again, Missouri game was close for a little while, right? But eventually they made the run. They went up by, they wound up winning by 15. And so can they keep that same thing going against a team that they should probably beat by 15, all things considered, if they're playing well? So, yeah, I'm curious, just maybe curiosity, whatever the word is, like just with Arkansas. Do you get that same team we've seen past two games, or does it all kind of go backwards again? And you let Vanderbilt hang around and hang around and hang around to where it's interesting. But as you mentioned, Vanderbilt struggling on the road, double-digit losses. I can't pick them here.
Yeah, I can't pick them either. I'm looking at Arkansas's depth chart over the past 5 games, and something that's changed. I think it's a combination of Brazil and Graham going through the injury bug, but Arkansas has played about 70+% of their possessions with either Tremont Mark or Jeremiah Davenport at the 4, which might have just kind of opened up the offense a little bit. I mean, we were talking about how it's so one-on-one isolation heavy in the beginning of the season, and with that style, a little bit of spacing can be the difference on getting a step on your defender. And plus, Mekhi Mitchell's been owning the paint, so I think there is I think there is significance to, like, this team is turning a corner, but it's just, I think it's too little, too late right now.
Yep. We'll see what happens in these two games. Again, probably not the most thrilling, but if you want our thoughts on Kentucky, Mississippi State, which may be a lot more interesting, you can find that here on the channel in the description below. So click on that link. We covered that one in another video. But as always, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. We appreciate you guys watching. Lots more SEC basketball, football, baseball coverage here at Southeastern 14. So we will talk to you again here soon.